Hey guys, this is Reed with Rapid Response Training. I'm here with my friend Buell Collins from Terminal Outcomes and AKA the Jinja Ninja. So, Mr. Buell, tell people whatever you want them to know about you.
Well, I am a friend of Reed's. If you don't know me right now, I am a Christian, a husband, and a father in that order.
Based.
Um, Terminal Outcomes is a training company that I am standing up at the moment. So keep on the lookout for that. There'll be some exciting stuff there. And hopefully, with some people we know, we'll have some collaborations and things going on that people should be interested in. So, very excited about that.
Excellent. Love it.
Yeah.
So, Buell and I have been talking. So, we just got done taking small unit tactics at Tactical Response, which is a super in-depth, immersive 5-day class all about team tactics, reacting to contact, things of that nature. So a little bit of trying to think of the right word, not reactive. Yeah, a little bit of reactive, a little bit of proactive.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I think it starts off as more reactionary, and then they evolve you into the um, take shit into your own hands contingent, I guess, if I'm allowed to
mhm.
say cuss words in
there's
here.
there's some offense and some defense. Yeah, say
Yeah,
say whatever you want because yeah, that's on as always with everything in the world, which I think people forget for some reason. Uh, you're responsible for your own actions. So
true. Yeah, all
anyway,
opinions expressed by me are mine, not Reed's or Rapid Responses Training. So let me get that out of the
yeah,
way.
and I may
I
or may not agree, and the world may never know. So
Yeah, and that's fine too, right? That's why we're
yeah,
friends.
that's right. So anyway, so we just got done taking this class and we had been having some conversations. And I know we're going to jump around a bunch here because I have weapons grade ADHD. But one of the things we
Did you buy
talked
that from
about,
North Korea?
dude, that is original issue. That is original equipment, man. Came direct.
Right from the hand
So
of God, baby.
that's right. That's right. Hey, like in police work, that's a superpower. In other
Yeah.
areas of life, maybe less so. But so anyway, so we got done doing this class, and I know we were talking because we just had a phenomenal experience, and our team was like rock solid, Team Omega all the way. And Mr. Buell was on my team. It was awesome. The old, were you four, Omega 4?
Omega
Hell
4,
yeah.
baby.
Hell yeah, dude.
Like those good acids or fatty acids. What are they? Omega 4 fatty acids, dude. Isn't that what fish
I
have?
think it's omega 3. Dude, well,
4 is better
omega
than 3,
4,
dude.
that's true. Omega 4 is just one acid better.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Omega 3,
So
omega 4.
omega
That's got
3
to
is
be a
like
thing, right?
omega 3 is like the budget fatty acid.
Yeah, dude.
Omega
You get the
4 omega 4 is with the
distilled.
high rollers, dude. That's
Yeah.
what those boys coming to see you in the out in Vegas.
Fuck, it is
Um,
omega 3 that the fish have, isn't it? Damn.
the poor fish.
Yeah. Fucking
Yeah.
minnows.
Yeah, you trying to get a swordfish, bro. They got
Yeah.
omega 4.
Yeah.
Um so anyway, we were talking about like what a great team we had and what a great community tactical response is built in general. Great alumni network and like just great friends, very solid people, people you would be proud to associate with. So we wanted to talk about uh, our topic for tonight, building the small unit. So give me your intro, dude.
Yeah. So I look at, I'm going to say something that might rub some people the wrong way. Maybe it won't. We'll see. Um, SUT, it's like, or any of what used to be called high risk civilian contractor, now they're just called high risk civilian. That whole book of classes is um, the epitome of LARPing. Okay. And people think that LARPing is like a pejorative. I don't use it that way. I think that it's actually live action role play, right? People think it's just a bunch of dorks because it was like popularized by people dressing up like fucking King Henry or something and hitting each other with foam swords. Yeah, that's dorky. You know what I mean? That's like and going to like what are they called? Medieval festivals. What are those things called? The stupid where they eat turkey legs and shit.
Renaissance fair.
Renaissance fairs. Thank you. They go to that and they talk all weird, right? Like,
Bro,
no,
I'd eat a turkey leg and drink a flagon of ale though. I'm not above that.
yeah, but if you show up there dressed in like you're Henry VIII and you talk
Mm.
weird, like you don't talk, that's dumb, right? But people, you know, that had started calling people that take training and wear kit when they train and stuff like that, they started calling them LARPers. Those are the people that um, sit on the internet and type about stuff and they don't ever learn anything. Like, I don't need to learn how to, I don't need to take a class. My dad was a cop. Okay.
I
I,
once
I,
spent I once spent the afternoon speaking with a guy who had been inside a VFW.
yeah, right. Like you know, former police, right? Like, you know this as well as anybody. You're the exception, not the rule when it comes to police community, right?
Yeah, for
Like,
sure, yeah.
you know, you and probably a couple of your buddies in your department were dialed in, like squared away. And then the rest of them, right, higher percentage of them, probably, I don't know, 9 out of 10, didn't take the martial lifestyle seriously. Like, there's outside of the cops I've met at Tactical Response, I've met 2 cops in my life that I'd want to show up to help my family if I called the cops. Right now, all the ones I met through Tactical Response have been squared away, right? And they're all over the country and stuff like that. But outside of that, there's 2 that I've met in the random, right? So when I say that SUT is like LARPing, like it's not. I'm not using it as a pejorative. Like, it's action, right? It's live. Like, we're live firing. We're doing action. We're actually learning skills. Like, that's actually good. A good thing to go do rather than sit on the internet and, you know, the modern day form of Facebook groups and talk about what you think you know. All right, like anybody with half of that has LARP.
Sweet mother. This is the best pause face I've ever seen. Hopefully the internet here works, but this is very funny. I cannot wait to make this the thumbnail of the video. Let's see. What am I going to do here? Well, I'll hide him for now, I guess. I'll hide him for now and I'll talk a little bit. So, what Buell's talking about, oh, he just disappeared. So, let's see. See if this, see what happens here. Send him another link. I don't even know if he needs another link. So, Buell started off right away, coming out hot. So, LARPing. What we do in training is essentially LARPing if it's good training, right? So, if it's training that is realistic, then it's going to involve some sort of a scenario. Like, we're not just, hey, shoot the bullseye, shoot it fast, shoot it right-handed, shoot it left-handed. Like, so that would be specifically some skill stuff. So when he's talking about LARPing, yeah, there is for sure an element realistically where like we're gonna go put on the cool guy kit and go pretend to do the cool guy stuff. Now the difference is when people use it in the pejorative sense, which of course Mr. Buell is not doing, but the difference here is that this training is realistic and relevant, and we're actually working toward a actual goal of becoming competent, becoming assets. So here's Buel is back. Buel is back. I just been
Yep.
vamping, dude.
Dude, 100% my internet. My bad. Sorry.
Dude, it's all good. You
Came
be
in too
getting like
hot, broke the internet.
solar flares out there or something.
Yeah. Vegas, dude.
So I was just saying that what we're doing kind of is LARPing, but it's good training is going to involve a scenario. Like you can take skill-based classes that's just like how fast can we shoot this bullseye. But if we're talking about fighting, you are mentally putting yourself in a scenario, in a like you are role playing that you are in a fight because that is what makes the training relevant and realistic.
yeah,
So
it's a
that's kind of what I
big
was
part of
talking
it,
about.
right?
Yeah. Well,
The,
while you were reestablishing connection. So
yeah, I think those North Koreans didn't like me buying the ADD from them.
mm,
The if you just look at it, right, live action role playing, right? Like we were Omega Team, we were role playing as Omega Team, and
dude, we weren't role playing.
I mean, we
That's real.
crushed it, but like we get there and they give us
Yeah.
our
Yep.
scenario, as you're saying. So I think people use this as a pejorative, and people to let them let that be an insult. They don't. They don't think about it, right? Like that. That's dumb, and the people that are saying it are even dumber because
Mm,
it's an ego thing. That's where I was going with
yep.
it. Is that
Yep.
they don't have a healthy ego. They don't have the ability to test themselves because they're scared it's going to make them look weak. So they'd rather try and uh, bring somebody else down to their level rather than trying to seek to get up to their level. So um, yeah, and the highest forms of doing that to me are classes like the high risk civilian contractor series and force on force, right? Like they're
Yep.
two different things, right? Like I think force on force is critical for maybe a different element of it. But if you want to do a culmination or a pressure test on your skills, whether they be just the shooting and moving, communicating part, or the actual tactics, your skill level at these tactics, right? Um, Putting those in practice, that's how you do it. And then also, uh, 5 days of being around your team and at least one other team of people and having to make all that work, like that's a whole nother thing in it. Like the human aspect of that is a major part of it, right? Like me and you, friends, right, completely enjoy each other, and at times there were moments where you probably wanted to slap me and I was wanted to choke you, right? Like they are moments in time where
Yeah.
it
Sure.
tests, like you're tired, you're hungry, you're doing a lot of work, like you are, I'm not saying you or me in particular, but in general, you may have a different idea of how we should do some things, and that comes up, and in the moment, like a lot's going on, right? So these are all tests of your ego, of manhood, if you will, or if there were a chick out there, but just of who they are character wise, right? Like that's a very unique way to test those things. And I don't think you're going to get those necessarily at a 2 day class. Even a really good 2 day class doesn't have that element of it. And then I think there's a certain level of camaraderie and like another level, more layers of developing friendship that can come from that.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I agree wholeheartedly, obviously. Um, so that's the thing about, so people watch the video on your channel that you put up, right? And is that the Terminal Outcomes channel or is that the Buell
it's my,
Combos channel?
it's Ginger Magic.
Ginger
It,
Magic, baby.
yeah, Ginger Magic 1775.
Sweet mother. So
But
Buell put out a highlight video of the small unit tactics class, and it's there's a lot of cool videos out there on YouTube from the tactical response small unit class, but his is one of the best. So go there and watch it. I'm at one point here. I may see if I can throw up a little linkage. Um, Got to see how technical I can get with that. But either way, people will see that those videos, and they're going to say, "Oh, that's a shooting class." And for those of us who know, right? For those of us either who have taken the class or are in the circles we're in, they know that this is not a shooting class. This is first and foremost a leadership class. And that doesn't mean necessarily how to be a leader. It can also mean how to be a follower. It can also mean it's how to work in a team. It's a teamwork class, and that defaults to leadership, in my opinion. So, and yeah, so the immersive nature, 5 days, close quarters, you're doing everything together, and yes, working through those interpersonal problems, not even problems, uh, we'll
Moments.
say, yeah,
Yeah. Like
scenarios, whatever. Like,
interpersonal intelligence is, and that's a skill, right? Like some people are
dude,
start at a different level,
yeah,
right, than others, but you can develop that over time, and that's an asset, right? Like we had on our team someone that was assigned to basically, foreign relations slash uh, dealing with other elements and other people, right? Like that is a skill set you should have as a warrior. Your soft power is 100% a skill that you should have. Going back to, avoidance, deterrence, and de-escalation. What do you think de-escalation is, right? What do you think avoidance is? It's interpersonal skills. It's being able to pick up on nonverbal cues, verbal cues, tone, all this stuff, and make a educated, informed decision on what to do in the moment.
100%, 100%. Keep talking.
Okay. So in that class, what I was saying about developing those layers of friendship and those bonds, I knew a good portion of our team and part of what ended up being the other team. Like I had previous relationships with half the class, right? But some of those people I had met once or twice, and a couple of them I knew of them. Justin's a perfect example. I knew who
Sure.
he was, but I never met him. Never had a conversation with him. But we are better friends than people that have just known each other for 5 days or hung out 5 times, right? Like
Sure.
we've done something difficult and that we're both passionate about together, and we've had that like that common thread and struggle, if you'll call it a struggle, together that showed us something about each other. Like there were multiple times in the class where he showed me about who he is that you don't necessarily like. If we would have just met at SHOT Show one year, like, oh yeah, cool, you're friends with Jaeger, I'm friends with Jaeger, right on. Like you're alumni, we're alumni. Like obviously we're all good. That's one thing. But when you have those opportunities to be shown someone's character, or an opportunity to reveal who you really are to people, you can develop friendships faster, right? And I think that's what that class is paramount at doing. Look at the other HR, like the other groups of people that necessarily didn't even take that class together, but that's still like a common thread or a common bond, right? Like as soon as you
100%.
meet someone, you meet someone that, look, I've done such and such training, cool, like awesome, you're into training, I'm into training, and then someone's like, oh well, I've done this many force on force classes. You're like, oh cool, you're like another layer of cool that I like. And then it's like, oh, you've done the high risk civilian contract thing. You're like, oh cool, you're like, we're starting to see that we're lining up on these levels of commitment. I guess it would be like commitment to the craft. You know what I mean? The warrior path. You know,
it's a common background.
yeah,
So
yeah, and it's like,
we've got shared experiences. Maybe we're more in the exact same classes,
yeah,
but we have a base level of understanding of like, okay, I'd never met Justin before either. I had heard his name before, probably from something like Shot Show, right? I'd never met Justin before, and shout out Justin Hoffman, uh, the man.
handsome devil.
That's the Omega 3 right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Chris Costa lookalike, but or somebody said Lovell, I guess. Either way, they had a love child, and
Yeah,
but
okay.
but like I can meet that guy and shake his hand and be like, hey man, I'm Reed, and he's like, hey man, I'm Justin, and like I already know who that guy is, even though we're just meeting. But like the fact that he's here, the fact that he has the background he has, like I know how I can talk to him. I know kind of what his sense of humor is going to be. I know if I tell him, hey, I need you to do X or Y, like he knows what that is. I'm not going to have to explain, like, I don't know. Let's do something simple like, hey, I need you to reload your gun, right? Like, I don't have to explain what that is, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a baseline, um, a shared experience that we've got. So,
Yeah, and I think it brings like a level of cohesion, or like it's a shorthand, right? Like there's a shorthand there that you develop, um, where necessarily wouldn't be there in other
mhm,
things. And I think that goes to the larger point of um, like building your gun culture, or building your social circle that is people from the gun culture rather than the gun community. Um, One thing that makes like where we met Tactical Response unique in the training world is their alumni group, right?
100%.
It has had a lot of time to mature, even from like the Get Off the X days. You know, the that alumni group is an extension of, you know, Get Off the X, and you know, um, there's a story from Get Off the X back in the day. An alumnus got in a shooting, protecting his wife, and he needed help to cover his legal bills, and $100,000 was raised for him from the Get Off the X group. This is before like Facebook was a thing, right?
Yeah.
Um, and that's the kind of people that you want to surround yourself with, that step up and help someone like that, you know. Um, and that's what's wholly unique. I've been to a couple schools, and schools I really enjoy, but I don't see that.
Bro, you want to hear something depressing? And we'll mostly keep this positive, but dude, when I go to a class at a different school, and I won't, obviously, I'm not going to say any names, but I'll go to a class, different instructor, different school, somewhere else, and none of the students want to like hang out, and everybody's just like, they go back to their own cars, and like, people are in from out of town. It's like, hey, who's going to dinner? Like, would anyone like to go to dinner? People are just doing their own thing, man. Or the thing that's even a little bit grosser is they are trying to get something. So like they're gonna go off in their little group, their little clique, and like, oh, we're gonna, like, us four guys from, that have this media thing or this company of some sort, like we're gonna go take the instructor out, like just us.
Yeah,
And because they're trying to, I mean, and hey, I'm a capitalist, but like at the same time, like we could be bros.
yeah. Like me, like everybody at the class being at dinner doesn't mean that you don't get to be at dinner too. You're in the class, right?
Yeah.
One thing that, like, once again, you know, I started my professional training journey at Tactile Response, and that will leave you with certain expectations of other
100%.
places that
Well, you know what
could be
James said
good
as
and could
well
be
as I
bad,
did.
right? Like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
What James used to say about that, he was like, "Dude, you're ruined. You understand that you're ruined. Like,
Well,
you can't go anywhere else now that you've experienced this. Like, you're not going to enjoy this other stuff."
there are some areas, right, that like
Yeah.
not only like the curriculum is one point of it where you're like, oh,
Yep.
it took me 3 days to do what I do before lunch in day one of fighting pistol. This is weird. But like I hosted a particular instructor back when I worked in the gun industry. We sponsored this instructor, and I hosted him here for a couple classes. And getting him to go to dinner, and at the end of day one, I was like, oh, we're going to dinner. Like, I just assumed that the instructor went to dinner with everybody because that's what we did. Like, James was like,
Yeah,
let's go
that's
to
what
dinner.
we
Right.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, we're going to dinner. Like, what kind of food do you like? And he's like, um, I'm like, no. Like, like, I'm hosting you here. So, like, I'm paying you. So we're going to dinner. Right. But also, like, these are your people, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
you
they should
go,
be. They should
yeah.
be your
And like,
people. Yeah.
so I was dumbfounded by that. And then what I also, in this particular class, he was internet famous and all that stuff. And
Metal hazard.
like the assholes would disrupt the learning because they just wanted to hear him tell stories.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm like, guess where a great place for you to satiate that need would be going to dinner at night. Right.
Yep.
And then so then the students, when they come to your class, oh, story time is at dinner. This is learn shit time.
Yep.
Like, so it cures a bunch of stuff. And then also, um, I make it a point whenever I'm at any class to be welcoming, especially if I see newer people or people that you go to a class and there'll be one or two people that don't have a group, right? They're kind of over there loading their mags by themselves, or they're maybe, usually it doesn't get to this point, but at lunch they're eating by themselves. Like, if I notice it then, like they don't really have a crew to hang with, I'm like, dude, come over here, like hang with me, right? Like, hang with this group over here. Like, let's talk about the stuff. We're obviously here to learn the same stuff. Like, where do you come from? What do you do? What other classes have you learned? Oh, what was that, a good instructor? Right? Like, even if it's totally selfish of me to pump this guy for knowledge, like, it's making them feel included, right? Like, welcomed into a world. And then when they find out, oh, you've trained here, like, oh, this is what those people act like. Yeah, this is what those people act like. Like, you should do
It's
that.
important to training, and people like us who've been doing this for a little while, training, right? Like, not that we're some big experts, but um we forget how intimidating it is.
Mm-hmm.
And there can be somebody who like steps way out of their comfort zone and puts that ego aside and comes to a class, and like they're already so far out on edge, like they're not going to go talk to people and like be social because they're feeling self-conscious and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know anyone. And like it is so important to include people and make them feel like they're part of the team. And that's something that we experienced at Small Unit Tactics. We've got people that we're like, hey, you are part of us. Like, even though maybe we don't, because not everybody did have the exact same background, right? A lot of
Mm-hmm.
us did, which is why, dude, we just jived. But there are people that didn't, and guess what? Like, when you welcome them in and you're like, yo, we are friends now, and we're gonna hang out, and I'm gonna ask you about stuff, and I'm gonna depend on you. Like, I'm gonna like I'm friends with Buell, so I'll be like, hey Buell, I need you to do X or Y.
Mm-hmm.
Like, guess what? This person I don't know. I'm gonna ask you the same thing. Like I'm gonna treat you the same way, hold you the same standard, and I think that really builds. Well, it builds team cohesion, but it builds community too.
Well, you
So
know, that reminds me of something Thomas had said while we were at the class. You know, a couple days into the class, he was someone that we have previous relationship with, right?
mhm.
Like I've been around him a few times and all that stuff. But he was on the other team, and most of that team knew each other and they live around each other and hang out with each other and
Mhm.
all that stuff, which is cool. Like awesome to see a group of 6 dudes show up to
Yeah, it's
class to
awesome.
train together. Like,
That's so
dude, rock
rare.
on, right? Like we have that, but we're spread out, right? Like if I call you for QRF, I don't know if you like didn't tell me that you won the lottery lately. Now you got
I'll
a
be
private
I'll
jet, but
be SRF, dude. Slow
yeah,
response for us.
yeah. But like they you know, they were talking to Thomas and they're like they knew that we all were from different places, right? And they're like,
Yeah.
how are those guys like that? And he's like, oh, well, all those guys have known each other, you know, maybe not all of them collectively, but like everyone there has known each other. That guy knows him for 10 years and he knows him for 8 years, and then they known each other for 4 years. And like, you know what I mean? Like they, they were like, oh,
Yes.
now that makes sense. He's
It's
like,
same circle. So like
yeah,
Matt, for example,
mm-hmm,
like you had introduced me to Matt once, and it was like a hey man, super cool to meet you. And like for 3 minutes, that's what it
mm-hmm,
was. And then like, but he's your bro and you're
yeah,
my bro.
yep,
So I'm like, dude, he's just one of us. And then all it takes is now I shouldn't say all it takes because this is an exceptional environment, but like 5 days later, like him and I are
yeah,
friends.
yep,
Um, but yeah, so having that like the mutual trust, but and that's the crazy thing is like not all of us knew everybody knew somebody, not everybody knew everybody,
correct.
right? And but that's the cool thing is like that kind of shared it's a shared trust because I trust your judgment. Like I
Yep.
know you're not going to be friends with a scumbag, and I know that if you say dude squared away, he's squared away.
Yeah, it's social capital, but you're doing it off
Yes.
equity, right? Like
Yeah.
you're getting equity based on my social capital with him and vice versa, all that stuff, right? So
It's
um
vouching.
yeah, and it's like, oh, and he had the same thought too, right? He's like, you know, he knew like me and Thad and you know, me and Thad for sure are the people he'd spent the most time with,
Uh
just
huh.
taking that for example. Um, but then, you know, he's like, oh, like Dad is tight with him and Buell's tight with Reed, and like so, and you know that alleviates nerves all the way around. Like when when I signed up for the class, we had coordinated a group of a few, and then randomly it was like, oh, Reed's going to be there too. I'm like, oh, this just keeps getting better, and then it's
Oh,
like
dude.
Handsome Josh
So
is confirmed. It's like, oh, dude, it just keeps getting better and better. Like
yeah.
my level of anxiety or anxiousness for the class just kept. I'm like, oh, it's just going to be better. Like I was already up here with like my expectations of how
I
cool it would
had
be,
yeah.
but then it was just like, oh, now it's going to be this cool. Oh, now it's going to be this cool. Oh, like we might just have the best class that's ever been invented. You
Well,
know?
so when I signed up, I didn't know anybody else in the class. And but I was like, this is a like having the time and money to do something like this is pretty rare. And I've been thinking about, planning for doing something like this for literally my entire training career, like 11
Mm-hmm.
years, right? And it hasn't happened. And I'm like, dude, now or never. Like, let's just send it. Maybe it doesn't make sense with my time off balance. We're just sending it, right? So I sign up. I'm listening to the live, and they say that you're going to be there. And I was like, dude, texted you the next day, and dude, we're both so excited. And I'm so glad this will get back to the topic, building the small unit. Okay. Cause we actually did do this. Like we built a small
Yeah.
unit unintentionally, but I think it had a huge effect is I was like, yo, we should start a group chat with
Yeah.
all the dudes that we know that are going to be in class. And you were like, great idea. So we start that group chat and the group chat and to a lesser extent, like Google Doc, where we can all like collaborate and see what's going on. But that started building community, building teamwork and trust because everybody sees everybody else checking in, right?
Yep.
And everybody like maybe like all right, somebody I don't know, right? Justin. I don't know Justin, but he's like just his participation, I can tell he has buy-in. Like he wants to be there. And frankly, like that is one of the most important aspects of a team member is, and I've seen this on the positive side and the negative side professionally in literal, like in actual small units where we go and carry guns for a living. Where like you get some dudes with buy-in that want to be there and they don't have to be tactical gods. They don't have to be, the best driver, the best medic, the best investigator, like whatever that job happens to be. They don't have to be the best at that job. Like, in fact, somebody that is the best at that job and doesn't want to be there, does not have buy-in, is not interested in teamwork, that dude is actually a liability to the team, despite his expertise. Oh, dude, I wowed him. He's speechless. Speechless. So, but there he goes again. He'll be back. So I'm gonna keep talking, keep yapping for a little bit. So the building that group chat, and as soon as Buel gets back on, I'll talk to him a little bit more about that. But that was huge, where we start to build trust. We basically made a team before we got there just on accident. And none of us knew that we would be on the same team because there was two teams, Alpha and Omega team, as part of the grander Team America, as I like to say, Team America World Police. But a lot of the guys in that group chat just happened to be on the same team, and it was invaluable. I'm so glad we did it. Yeah. So let's see. So anyway, Buel had used a bunch of. Oh, here he is, dude.
I don't know.
Here he is.
Is this better? Hold on.
There he is.
I'm going off the phone now. For whatever reason, my internet's been perfect. Now, like I apologize.
No, dude, it's all good. I just kept
I always
yapping.
make fun of Lewis for having terrible internet, and then look at me.
Well, you said Lewis?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me make sure that these are on my headphones so that we don't get screwed up audio here.
I can hear you. So the Lewis, it's not technically Lewis's fault. He has the best internet Camden has to offer.
All right.
But perfect.
Sorry about that, dude.
It's all good. Dude, the turtles, man.
Turtle, baby. This is my,
yeah.
Our dear late friend Jaeger was a big Spider-Man guy, so he'd always wear Spider-Man shirts. So I'm a Ninja Turtles guy. I wear the Ninja Turtles shirt. Yeah.
Dude, I'm not cool enough to have a thing like that, I guess. I don't know.
Well, you know who's best.
I like Batman, but you can't wear Batman stuff. That's.
Whew, that one is like a you wear Velcro shoes type of deal.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's woman repellent right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so group chat. So I want to bring this up. So building the small unit. So not everybody out there, I mean, realistically, most people watching this, especially 40 minutes in, are probably tactical response people, right? But not everybody is. So besides joining tactical response alumni group, right? Like going and taking a class. Let's say they want to take one of your classes, one of my classes, or just whatever, somebody local to them. Um, I think that developing networks and is something that as students, like subordinate leaders, if you will, is something that we ought to do. And I think a great way to do that is group chats.
Yeah, I think the group chat was like it's also a great what do they call it? Like a pregame, right? Like, you have a beer before you get to the concert
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Like the little icebreaker element of the group chat, especially for a class like this, was awesome. Another thing I would say that I think is important. We talk about how awesome it was that we knew a bunch of people there. The
Mm.
class, like, you don't have to know
Mm-mm.
people at the class, right?
Well,
It
how do you think we met?
right
Like we didn't know each other, and then we met. So
in the
now
team room.
team room, but I don't think we've met. Have we actually taken a class together before this, or just
No,
broing down?
we had been at tactical response for different classes at the same time, but
Yeah,
this was the first class
that's what
that
I
we were
thought.
both students in.
Yeah.
Um, and um, now uh, uh, the first class I ever took, I showed up with my cousin, so I knew somebody, right?
Mhm.
Um,
I showed up with
but
Thomas, so I knew somebody.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But you, I don't think you what I should say is, like, don't get wrapped up on that you need someone to go take classes with. The point is, go take a class and then you'll get people to take classes with.
Yes.
Like Chris, Chris LaFana is a good friend of mine.
Love
He,
Chris.
he ended up, being my neighbor a couple years into our friendship. We met uh, in NSR Tactical's Facebook group, and
Hmm.
then he was getting ready to go take his first class, and I was like, "Hey, before you go, let me take you out, and I'll give you like a a warm up. I'll teach you the basics of what you're going to learn there, so that you get more out of the class, right? Because and I know that the first time you
Fire
take
hose
fighting,
time, baby.
yeah, the first time you take fighting pistol, um, there's a lot going on, and I gave him basically like an intro to that. Like, hey, this is how they want you to draw the pistol. This is how they want you to reload. Not so that he didn't learn that while he was there, but so that more of his bandwidth was available to take in more details, right? To get
Hmm.
more out of the class. And, he goes and he took fighting rifle and fighting pistol back to back in Tucson, I want to say. And,
Nice.
and he gets back and he was, hey, thanks, man. Like, that did actually help me, get more out of the class. And that turned into he and I being friends. And for, I don't know, probably close to 18 months, we were at the range every Sunday together.
That's
Like,
awesome, dude.
when I say every Sunday, 45 weekends a year at least, right? Like, we were there every Sunday, and we became close friends. And he ended up buying a house right up the street from me, and he's one of my closest friends. And um, there's like I have a handful of friends that I grew up with that are really close with, and then I have friends that I'm as close with that I all met at training, right? That some of my best friends and the people I'm closest with, I met at training classes. You mentioned Matt earlier, like, he and I met technically at SHOT Show, but um, and SUT was actually the first class he and I ever took together. Um,
That's crazy.
but
Yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
me too.
me and him became friends through the training world, and you know, one of the you know closest guys I know. Like, he's one of the people I would consider a brother. You know what I mean? Like, um,
Yeah. Well,
Brian
dude,
Keeney's another one.
the crazy thing, Josh might be the exception. I can't remember, but I don't think I had had a class with anybody in Omega Team. I may have had one with Josh. I know we've like done a
Josh.
lot. Handsome Josh.
Oh, handsome Josh.
Handsome Josh. I know we've done a lot of alumni together for sure. We've definitely like roomed together during alumni and whatnot.
When you said Omega, I was thinking Alpha. I was like, which Josh was on
Oh,
Alpha?
oh
I don't
no,
know.
no,
I don't know why I
Omega.
went to Alpha there. Yeah, yeah. My Josh.
Uh,
That's another one, dude.
yeah,
I,
but
I
I
like.
don't think I'd ever had a class, maybe with Josh, but definitely not with anybody else. That was the first time with everybody else, and but like it didn't seem. It seemed like we just been doing this.
Man, now that I think about it, I think the only person I had actually been in class with previous to that as students, like me and Thad, but like also half the time me and Thad are in class, like we're students and instructors type
Yeah,
of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Um, but me and Hayden had done a few. We had
That
done,
yeah, y'all done the green line.
yeah, and
The
we did fighting shotgun together,
okay, so you did
and
CQB and you did shotgun.
yeah. Um, no, I think Handsome Josh was in one of my fighting pistol classes,
Okay.
like back in the day. Now that I think about it, um, but another one that the first time I met Josh was in the team room, right? Like waiting to go to class the next day,
Yeah,
and it was one of those um, epic nights in the team room where it was
it's
like,
always an epic night in the team room,
yeah,
dude.
and it's funny, like we had like Curtis from VSO Gun Channel was there, and he's
Okay.
like a chemical engineer, like a doctor in chemical engineering or something like this. I don't know, maybe not quite PhD, but um, then we had
PhD,
Bitcoin.
pretty huge dick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, maybe. Uh, what's it taste like? Um,
You tell
but
me, dude. I've never met the guy.
um, but just like the combination of people there, I'm gonna ask him.
Got him.
Not what it tastes like, but if it's pretty huge. Um, if he does know what it tastes like, it's obviously pretty huge. Um, but yeah. Uh, anyways, just an epic night, and then like still friends with Josh, Bitcoin, Dave Hogan was there.
Bro,
Like
I miss Bitcoin, dude. I haven't seen that
I gave
cat
him
in
that
like
name.
I haven't seen that cat since like 2018 or something.
I gave him that
Um,
name that night.
dude.
Yeah,
No,
like
so
I
that
didn't
was
know
the
his real name for 7 years. Like like
dude,
he told me his name that day, but
you know who else I miss is Jared Roush, man.
oh my God, me and him took combat
Bro.
shotgun at Thunder Ranch together.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know. That would have been a class to be in.
yeah, that was the time I was a student with Jaeger in a class, which
Hmm.
like I learned a ton from that class, like through the curriculum and having Clint teach shotgun. But I also went there with a secondary goal to watch Jaeger as a student to learn how to be a proper student. And I learned a ton um,
I
from
got to
that.
do that as well. I'm very lucky. I've actually we talk about never having taken classes together. I've never taken a class from James.
Oh, it's
I,
him as your
I
instructor?
I've never had him as the instructor. I've had him pop in. I've
Yeah.
had him, give a 5 minute here, a 10 minute there. Um,
Come in and yell at Tim and then leave.
yeah, but I never had the opportunity to take a class from James, which honestly is not that crazy because like he didn't at least like in the YouTube era and even post, I mean, he was teaching at least the Camden classes less than half. So he would do a lot of road stuff, but
Yeah.
um
I, I'm trying to think if there was more than just this one, but the one that stands out to me is my low light building clearing class,
okay, yeah.
where Paul Thompson just absolutely raped me for 2 days, shot the shit out of me, and just owned me for 2 days.
The man.
Like, yeah, like first, and like it's not even fair because like
It's
he's
all. It's all
way
right. He's
bigger than
gonna.
me,
Well,
right?
he's
Like
gonna
he's way
be.
bigger than me. So I was like, hey, if
I don't
this
know if
big
you've
guy
seen the
grabs me, I'll
chat.
just shoot.
I don't know if you've seen the chat, but he's gonna be eating 96 grams of protein. So you got him this time, dude.
Yeah, dude. Well, no. So that was the deal. I'm like, well, if this big motherfucker grabs me, I'll just shoot him. You know what I'm saying? And then he
Yeah.
started shooting. Then he beat me at that. I was like, fuck. Well, I guess I'm his fucking slave now. Um, yeah. Um, but yeah, Jaeger was the instructor for that, and it wasn't my it wasn't the highlight of my training career performance. Um, but you
Well,
know,
hey, you gotta have the. You gotta have those ego crushing moments. Like,
all right, here's one for you. You want another
yeah.
hot take? You
Okay.
just
Yeah.
brought up
Send it.
protein, so you gave me a good segue for this.
Yeah.
Okay,
Send it.
all right. So I think that salmonella is
Okay.
a
Salamanca.
psyop. What's that?
Salamanca.
Yeah, I think it's a psyop from the people that have been trying to kill masculinity to keep people from getting their protein.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because like, think about it. They make this big deal about it, so you don't eat all your chicken, right? And but have you
You
ever? Do
get
you ever know
salmonella from
somebody that
chicken?
had salmonella? Yeah, that's what they say.
I
Allegedly,
thought we
right?
got it from like vegetables, like lettuce and shit. But no, that's
I
E.
think.
coli. That's E.
Yeah,
coli.
that's omega fours, dog. No, but think about it. Have you
No, that
ever
might be
known
like
someone to get salmonella?
omega 9, dude.
Yeah.
Uh, no,
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 you
no.
haven't, right? And like, I'm not willing to die on this hill. Like, it may be a real thing, but I also kind of think it's like women that are good drivers. Like, they might be out there, but I ain't never seen one. You know what I mean?
Yo, well, I have, bro. Um,
A good one?
my partner on the department was a female. She still is a female. She's just not my partner or on the department. Um, she's still definitely a female. And bro, she could drive, dude. She could
Okay.
drive. Now,
Well, maybe it is possible to get salmonella
now
then.
hold on. I'm not done yet. There's a butt coming.
Okay. She struggled with the drive-through, like not hitting the curbs in the drive-through. Is that it?
Bro, the curbs, dude. The curbs, the slow speed, that that was a problem. But like, if we were in a chase, she could freaking drive, bro.
It's because in the chase, curbs don't matter. You just go over 'em. You know what I mean?
Where
And
we're
you
going,
can't
we
ding
don't.
her for that.
Where we're going, we don't need curbs,
Yeah, like you don't ding
dude.
if you're in a chase, you don't ding for hitting the curb. That's bonus points. But when you're, trying to get fucking Dunkin' Donuts or whatever you guys were doing, like don't
Yeah,
hit that curb.
bro. My so this is before we were partners. She had just come to the squad, and we get in this epic chase, right? And it was a very short chase, but like it was just awesome. But so
It's like the first time you have sex.
I don't
It's
have
a very
sex, so I
short
don't
one. It was a very short one, but it was awesome.
know. So yeah, maybe I don't know. I don't have sex,
Hmm.
but so we're lead. We let K9 get in front of us because they're gonna like use the dog, and we don't want to be in between them. Like they got real big teeth. So
Yeah, keep him
um,
going that way.
yeah, I don't. I want to be behind the dog, not in front of the dog. So
Hey now.
uh, dude stops there. So we get in this chase, bro. Dude, it was awesome. Like we're chasing this guy, and there's just lights because we had it pre-set up. I'm not going to tell the whole story, but I'll tell you someday. But everybody was like kind of already gathering in perimeter, right? And we had so many people. And so we're chasing this guy down this road going southbound toward the interstate, and there's just lights on all the sides of the road, and dudes are just chucking spikes in the road left and right. And so we end up spiking all four of the tires. They're tossing guns out the car, right? And as a robbery crew. And so anyway, their tires are gone. They pull in this big parking lot, and one of the dude gets out and runs. So K9 stops, sends a dog after him. Bad guys keep rolling. So it was me and my sergeant. I was riding shotgun because he's like, I'm driving. I was like, all right, whatever. So, yeah, exactly. So, he sends it over the curb. Just there's just like a sign there, like a stop sign or something. Just bam, runs that over. So we're going through this curb, slow speed, or this go over the curb and then slow speed to like 5-10 miles an hour or whatever. And there was 5 dudes in that car, bro. So now there's still 4 guys in it. The one guy ran, and I see the driver, and he's like doing this number, and I'm like, I've got the door open. I'm hanging out the passenger side with
He
it.
was just looking for his checkbook, dude.
And I'm like, Sarge, I'm about to blast this fool. There's that 90-degree elbow, dude. Like, he's going for a gun right now. And I'm like, bro, this is going to be, I might have to not shoot. I don't know if I can take this shot because, like, there's 3 other people in the car that I'm not justified in shooting. They're moving, we're moving, and I got 2 layers of auto glass between us. I was like, bro, this is about to be sketchy, right? Well, it turns out he wasn't going for a gun. He knew he was going to jail forever. And he was like, let me get this lighter, get one last cigarette in before I go.
Atta boy.
Yeah. Which, like, hey, man, I get it. So,
I mean, he's not full of good choices. So,
well, that was arguably his least bad decision that day.
Yeah, he was on the low inventory side of good choices.
Yeah. So but anyway, the whole point here.
Did homegirl hit the curb or what?
Yo, here's what homegirl did. Homegirl was riding shotgun, and with another one of my guys, because this is before we were partners, and the dog chases this guy, and for whatever reason, like, they're not perfect. The targeting was a little off or whatever. And so the dog didn't just immediately snap him up, right? So the dude's running through the parking lot. She doors this guy. They drive up next to him, and she hits him with the door. She hit him so hard, she broke the door, dude. Like, the door never shut right again after that. And obviously, like, we don't have the budget. Like, this ain't getting fixed. But, dude, it was badass, man.
Does anybody know a body guy? Hammer out this dent.
Dude, I wish, man. I wish. No, it wasn't a dent. It was like the door itself.
The hinge. Yeah,
like
the hinge.
Something. Yeah, dude. So it leaked then, like in the rain.
It's like if it's raining, she has to ride shotgun now. Like, you got to sit on the door you broke.
Yeah, bro. Oh man, good times, man. But yeah. So anyway, we're almost at an hour, but let's swing it back into the old small unit. Like, here's something that I think about a lot. Like, so this was before James died, and like right before. And Lewis and I were out at breakfast in Camden, and it was just me and him. We were talking about stuff, and he was like, dude, tactical response is important. And I'm like, obviously, yeah. And he's like, no, like, the alumni network alone, like, tactical response and the alumni group, the alumni network, is important for not only for us, not only for gun stuff, like for America. And I was like, bro, that's something like I'll never forget that conversation. And I think that is our responsibility as leaders, because we are, like, and James would have told you that, is to foster that. Because having a group of people that can communicate. See, James already communicating.
Yeah,
he's ready to get in the fight.
He's agreeing with you.
Get in the fight. Let's go, dude.
Yeah. Speaking of James,
going to testify.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of James, but like having a group of people that can communicate, who are like by and large just outstanding human beings, assets to their friends, family, their community, and they have a heart to protect people, and they want to be capable, like, and they are they are dangerous to people that would victimize the innocent,
Yeah.
and that is important to America.
Yeah. And so you said something that's very important there, that resonates with me. See, I'm like, you see how I get nervous? I start fidgeting with shit because you like touch on nerve. Um, is when James uh, was ill, and then particularly when he passed. Um, I don't want to say I took it upon myself. That would be wrong to like for me to assume that I was some, you know, that I was some force that could do anything like that. But I did make it a personal mission of mine to make sure that I continue to embody that spirit and that generosity that was so important to him, and uh, that culture that he spent so much time building and put so much into, that we all got so much out of. And like I said, I'm not saying I'm not saying that I am something special, that or under the illusion that I could do what he did, but I can continue to carry the torch, um, for the best that I can, and be the best um, gun culture how do you say that word? Right?
Evangelical
Yeah, yeah. Evangelize the gun
missionary.
culture. Yeah, like I can evangelize the gun culture, and continue to um, pass on the gifts that he gave me, that made me a better husband, father. He never met James, but uh, there's a reason why my son's name is James, um, and made me a better friend, son, brother, member of my community. All these things, right? That he gave to me, and that the tactical response gun culture has given to me, in turn. And this may seem like a silly example of that, but I have a uniform for day one of every class I take. I show up in a tactical response alumni shirt for the first day of every class I take. And like I said, I go out of my way to make other students feel welcome, and to make an impression. And I do that very intentionally, because I want them to see a representation of this gun culture, as a welcoming one, and one that is driving towards the goal, the true north on the compass, as James would say, uh, to make people more capable, regardless of all the other stuff around it. Um,
Based.
and and I take I would like to think that he would appreciate what I'm doing, and what I've done, and that I've taken it serious. And my goal is to continue that, and try and be that ambassador for the gun culture.
So that's so funny that you say that, because we've not talked about this, and I had the exact same thought, and that's why rapid response training exists. Is like you said, we ain't gonna be James. Like, James was James. That's it. He is a one in a billion guy. Nobody can fill those shoes. But this is something he would say all the time. Is like, hey, if every alumni would, like, he would say like $1, right? Like, if every alumni would give $1, we could do this crazy thing, right?
Yeah,
And so that's kind of, I'm not trying to be James. I'm trying to put my dollar's worth in uh, for America, for the gun culture, And um, it's the catch-22 thing, man. Like if everybody jumped in and gave that gave their $1 worth of whatever buy-in or effort, time, uh, or like literal money, depending on the scenario, right? Um, yeah, if every alumni out there said, "I'm going to take it upon myself to be a leader," and not like a formal like I'm in charge thing, like no, like I'm going to deliberately conduct myself in such a way to uh, lead others toward this thing that I think is so important, which is like
Yeah.
the topic of today's thing. Is like
Yeah.
the cult, the community.
The
So
yeah, the culture, and like you're leading them to a well that is, you know, it's sustenance that they need, right? In a way, like in you when you said like you or me or anyone, for example, can't fill James's shoes. I agree that one person can't do that. I think as a collective is how we can get as close as
that's
possible.
that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
if 100 of us do 5%, okay, that could do it.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of people
Yeah.
doing a lot of stuff. Like yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And I can't be in charge of 100 people. I can be in charge of me though.
Yeah.
So
And when, like you said, when you're being in charge, you're not saying like being someone's ruler. You're just saying that taking charge of the situation and making it better for more people, right?
mhm.
Doing what you can to make it better for more people. When we're talking about the name change, right? This is something I think that is might be pertinent. Like right now, it's called high risk civilian. It used to be called high risk civilian contractor. It's contracting isn't what it once was in the beginning of the GWAT and all that stuff, and I get that, but I think that class is relevant to the modern Minuteman, and I think that's what
Oh
it should
yeah,
be. I
100%.
think that's actually what the class is about now, and would be a way that I would frame that class to someone that
Hmm.
was interested in taking it. That would ask me, you know, because people will see that video that you mentioned earlier, or some of the older videos on the classes, and be like, well, why would you need to do that, or why would you need to go learn that stuff? And what I would say is it's a two-part answer. Is not everybody is at that point in their training journey,
Hmm.
but if you keep going down the path, you will get there where that will be a thing that you will have interest in learning, or would be relevant and probably a good skill set for you to have. And that the modern Minuteman aspect of that is where that would come into play. And we've seen it, I don't know how many times. We don't have to go this far back, but you can go back to Hurricane Katrina, right? Like if you and your family lived in New Orleans and that was going on, would you be better off or worse off by having had done that class,
Yep,
right?
100%, man.
And having that group, that network of people around you. Like there are things from that class that I have brought back to my group here, that when I need anything, right? They're the people that I call my local culture, that I have brought back to them, right? Um, so that makes me, safer. It makes my family safer, but to have these people around me that are more capable, makes the community safer. When I say community, I mean the actual community, like the
Yeah.
town we live in. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think that people that look at that on a surface level, they won't get it. That you need to be a little bit further down the road to really get it, I think. Um,
Well, there's that whole thing like, oh, do you really need that? Like, I hope not.
yeah.
Like, but you can say that, dude. You do a CPR class. Do you
Mhm.
really need that, dude? I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope I,
It,
I'm 0 for 4 in CPR. I'm
well,
what you
yeah.
call a good trier. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Gave her the old college try.
dude, I give it the
Well,
old college try. But
well, that's like this week in the Collins household has been an interesting one because I've been paying a woman to waterboard my son.
yeah, okay.
Like
Yeah.
what? What? It's like, well, I'm taking him to the ISR like drown proofing school thing, right? Where they flip, float, kick. I don't
Sure.
know what all
Yeah.
this stuff is, but basically, the woman waterboards my kid and teaches him how to not drown, right?
Yep.
Like, I hope I never need that. I
Yeah.
hope to God he never. But guess what? I have a pool, and he may find himself in there even for a few seconds, right? Like my nephew,
Well, yeah. And
my nephew
it's
fell in the
always
pool.
it's always somebody else's pool.
Yeah, but like
Because
my nephew
at
fell in
your
my
pool,
pool. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
it's
At your
like
pool, you got the fences and you got the alarms and you're paying attention, right?
right.
It's at the friend's house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like legit, my nephew fell in my pool. Right, like before I had a kid, like he
Hmm.
was, we were all right there, but like
Yeah.
he was dicking around and fell in the pool. Um, so do I hope I ever need my son to have the waterboarding training? No, but I'd rather him have it and not need it. That old cliche, right? I'd
Yeah.
rather him have it and not need it, right? Like
Yeah.
I guess it's not a
Well, it's a
cliche,
cliche
but
for a reason, man.
yeah,
Like,
like
yeah. But if you need it and you don't have it, like it's too late to when you're literally in over your head, it's a little bit late to be learning how to swim.
yeah, yeah. Like Clint always says, it's a gunfight is a really shitty place to learn how to gunfight, right?
Yep.
Like don't let that be the first time you've done any of this stuff. Um, I think that's very poignant.
For sure. Well, dude, I'm glad you were able to join me. I
Yeah,
think
thanks for having me. Sorry about the internet deal. That
don't
was
worry
annoying.
about it, man. Don't worry about it. Uh, they're getting exactly what they paid for.
I'm not. I'm
So,
going to call the internet company right now. I'm going to write a strongly worded letter.
hey, there you go, dude. Go full Karen, dude.
Yeah.
So Buell terminal outcomes. What else do you want to, tell people to come give you money or whatever?
Yeah. Keep an eye out for that. We're going to be announcing some fun stuff on the terminal outcomes front.
Awesome.
On the internet, you can find me at Ginger Magic 1775. That's
I'm
where.
gonna link. I'm gonna link that. I figured that out. I was trying to like sneak it into the video. I'm just gonna link it in the description. So,
Cool.
yeah,
Yeah. And, on Instagram, that's me too. So
Ginger
that's where I'm
Magic.
at. Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
And, you know, praise God, get jacked, stay strapped. That's my life advice.
That's right. Repent, sinners, and me. I'm pointing
Yep.
at me. Uh, anyway, so Buell, this is Reed with Rapid Response Training, and go make friends and talk to people and build community. Don't be weird.